Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and especially welcome to the Lazy Book Club members who are here, and thank you so much as usual for tuning in for another book club video. And as you all know, this is the October video even though it's coming out in November, but our pick for October, you guys picked The Vampires of El Norte, which is not surprising because it's supposed to be horror, vampires, romance, gothic kind of things going on, and I heard like historical fiction, which has me a little scared, but I did love The Hacienda. So Isabel Cañas also wrote The Hacienda, which I think I gave like a 4.5, I think, 5, 4.5, 5, something like that. Loved it. So I have very, very high hopes for this one. Very excited about it. I don't know anything other than it's, again, vampires and a sweeping romance, I think, and the cover is awesome. It looks so cool. So if you're not aware, this is part of the Lazy Book Club. We pick a book every month in the community tab. If you have not seen them in the community tab, I normally put a poll. We do have November and December already picked, so probably in December there will be another poll coming out, and I think I'm going to ask if you guys want to continue monthly or do bi-monthly instead. So if you guys pick bi-monthly, we would start in February and go from February on bi-monthly. It's kind of what I'm gonna gauge from you guys, so make sure you look out for community tab posts, which I don't think you really see on your computer, but you do see them on your phone if you have the app on your phone. Because I miss a lot of people's community tab posts too, but I'm always on my phone on YouTube, so I do see a decent amount of them. So we do have November's choice, which is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and then December I did all old picks from the year, and we picked Immortal Longings. That one surprised me by a lot, but we picked Immortal Longings. If you want to join us for any of those, then you can read the books and just tune into the video. If you have not watched one of these videos before, we are called the Lazy Book Club because I don't really do a live, so these are, at least currently. So basically, just read the book whenever you want to, and you can come back and watch the video whenever you finish it, or you just don't have to, you know, you can skip the month. You're not really gonna miss much. So this is very much choose your own adventure kind of book club thing going on, and yeah, it's just a fun, easy format, very low pressure, low stakes. So I think it's nice, and it's nice for me because I don't have to worry too much about it, and you guys don't get mad if I'm late. At least I hope you guys don't get mad if I'm late, because this one's pretty late. This one's later than I thought it would be. But yeah, so if you also haven't been here, then the format is basically a vlog style, and it is full spoilers. It is from beginning to end spoilers, basically update whenever I can or feel like it's the right moment to update. And we talk about the whole book, full thoughts, full things on everything happening. So if you have not read this, I would definitely go read it first and then come back. Or if you just want full spoilers, you can watch the end. That's up to you. I will watch plenty of spoiler videos without actually reading the book if I'm not interested in the book. So with that being said, without further ado, let's actually get into the vlog portion and my thoughts about the book. You can tell I just woke up because of a giant... Normally I sleep on my back, but sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I roll over onto my husband's pillow and I sleep on his pillow. And apparently that's what I did this morning because I've been... I didn't even realize that was there because I haven't even looked in the mirror this morning. I literally just rolled out of bed and came downstairs to unload the dishwasher because I didn't do it last night. So I was like, I need to do that first thing in the morning or else I'm gonna put it off and never do it. And it's gonna be like a week from now. There's gonna be dishes piled up everywhere. Moving on to our very first update for this book, Vampires of El Norte. I read 100 pages last night, so I'm on like page 106, and I don't know. This is nothing like what I was expecting. So first of all, if you're not reading the book and you're just here for the vibes, remember, this is full spoilers. This is full spoilers. So if you haven't read it and you're this far, I would turn back if you want to read the book or continue on if you don't. But we're following our main characters. Nina, see, I don't think it has does it have a tilde over it? I'm going to pronounce a lot of these names incorrectly. But it's Nina, I think it's just Nina. Nina and Nestor are the two main characters, and Nina is the daughter of... So I start getting confused. But her dad is an influential person. I believe, he owns his own, like, ranch, I want to say. I'm gonna get some of these details wrong because there is a bit of a language barrier for me. There's a lot of Spanish terms in here that you just kind of have to parse out using context clues if you don't speak any Spanish. But it's not too bad. It's not as, it started kind of rough, but it's not too bad. You can kind of guess what mostly everything they're talking about is. But I think he owns some sort of like ranch, and he has a lot of ranch hands and people that work under him. And so his daughter is kind of like obviously above. Like, this is definitely, what year was this? Because this feels very, yeah, 1840s. So women are not treated well. Women are not treated well. So Nina's kind of like put into this life where she's expected to marry, basically to get her parents more land, more power. And she hates that, and she's actually in love with this boy Nestor, and they've been best friends since they were kids, and Nestor's in love with her back, and he sees himself marrying her and wants to get his own ranch, wants to marry Nina, and they go out walking one night, and it's very not appropriate for them to be walking together. And this is just the sun, by the way. There's no extra added light. It is just beaming right down on my face right now. They're walking one night, and they kind of notice something a bit odd. And then Nina and Nestor are attacked, and basically Nestor believes Nina's dead. He brings her back to her family ranch, and then he just takes off. And it's 9 years later is when the book is taking place. And he's been depressed for 9 years. Nina's been pissed off at him for 10 years because she thinks that he left her, when in reality she basically was almost dead and he just didn't know. What I don't get is why no one told Nestor that she was alive. Like, he was communicating with his family and they all knew she was alive, and they never told him. That's what I'm like, why did you never tell him that she was alive? Like, I feel like it's pretty obvious he ran after her incident. So I feel like it's pretty obvious he ran because she was dead. So why are you not telling him that she's alive? That's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. I don't understand that part. So he shows back up and sees her, and I loved that part. I loved when they saw each other. It was so funny. And then Nina, he goes to try to talk to Nina, but she doesn't want to talk to him because she thinks that he abandoned her, and she slams the door in his face. And that's kind of where I'm at. Oh, Nestor just gets assigned to be like a guardian over her because she was able to get herself added to like the military. So they're mustering up forces to fight the Yankees. Yeah, face off on the Texas-Mexico border. So it seems like they have already taken Texas, and they're trying to push more into Mexico, and the people on the ranches are going to defend their territory. So like I said, they're mustering up forces. Nina got herself added because she's like a healer kind of person, and it turns out there's been other like vampire attacks, and you can actually coax the spirit back into the body, and that's how they end up healing. And that's pretty much it right now. We're about to start, I'm on chapter 10, so I'm on page 109. So my thoughts really so far, since that was more of just like a recap of where I am, my thoughts so far is it is a bit confusing. There are a lot of characters. There's a lot of characters already that I'm getting a little bit confused. It's as long as I can follow along with Nestor and Nina, it's okay. I can follow the storyline. But when they bring random people up, I'm like, who is who? So I am a little confused about who is who. Having a hard time tracking that. And at this point, I don't even think I could make like a list for myself who is who, because I don't know if that would even help. But this feels like a complicated version, well, I was gonna say version of the Hacienda, but the Hacienda to me was horror. So far, this is almost like a drama, and definitely more focused on the romance than the actual horror. While the Hacienda was definitely a romance, but it was focused a lot on the horror and less on the overarching romance. While this is definitely, this is a love story. Well, at least so far. Like, if one of them dies, it's gonna be awkward, but this feels like a love story. So that's kind of all I have to say about it right now. I don't know if I'm enjoying it or not, but I do feel like there's just paragraphs of unneeded text. Like, I found myself reading it last night and just skipping over bulk of text, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, and it wasn't necessary. Like, I would skip over it, wouldn't even notice. So that's the only thing. I don't know how I feel about just all this unnecessary text in here. It just feels like a lot. I feel like this book already could have been like 30 pages shorter with all the unnecessary stuff that I was able to skip over. So I'm gonna try reading it and not skip as much stuff as I've been skipping, because again, I didn't realize how much I was skipping. But yeah, I'm gonna continue reading. I feel like I could finish it, if not today, then definitely tomorrow, just because it is like fast moving and I'm interested in what's happening. I feel like this is a book I'm not gonna know if I like it or not until the end. So I'm gonna go do the dishes, and then I'm going to get back to reading and watching some YouTube stuff. I gotta catch up on a ton of YouTube stuff. And yeah, that's everything I've got for you right now. So let's get to reading. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It's very different. It's very different, and I can see people not liking this. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. I know I look very familiar from the beginning of this video. It is because I filmed the intro after I already finished the book. And when I say by I already finished the book, I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I have DNF'd it. I did not think that I would ever DNF one of our book club picks, but I could not do it anymore. I could not do it anymore. I literally set up this book club and the book picks for books that I already have or am going to be getting, and knew that I would basically like them or have a good time reading them. And I gave her last book a 4.5. What happened? Well, I got 200 pages in, but I think like 50 of those pages were skimmed. And I didn't miss anything when I skimmed them. I don't know how to review this because I DNF'd it. So we're just gonna go with why I DNF'd it. I did like skim the ending a little bit, but I really don't know like the things that happen in it because I DNF'd it. Because I felt like nothing was happening in the 200 pages that I read it. And I'm not a historical fiction girly. This was so much more historical fiction than her last book. And I feel like that was the biggest downfall, is I feel like I was supposed to care a lot about the historical stuff going on, and I didn't. And I also just didn't really feel the romance. And this is really just a romance book. This is like, the horror in this is like horror. It's like horror. It's not really horror. This is definitely a romance dressed up as a horror, and a historical fiction dressed up as a horror. This is a romantic historical fiction. That's the best way to describe this. If you also didn't like it, I am very sorry. I thought it was more horror than this. I thought it was gonna be like The Hacienda, which was definitely like romantic gothic horror. It definitely was kind of creepy at some parts. This was not. I do like the way they portrayed the vampires though. I think there was a lot that could have been done more with the vampires. I'm so all over the place right now. Okay, let's chill. Let's chill and go through it. And I'm sorry, because I literally just had one vlog update as well. So I DNF'd this book. I kept my marker in it. I DNF'd it at 196. And it was because my brain was just skipping pages, basically. It was just skipping pages, because I think where I DNF'd it is they were on the way back from the war front. So I think last I updated is she slammed the door in his face, I think. And then after that, he's kind of just pining after her the whole time, but like not in a fun way. And she's just like upset the whole time. And it was just not fun really to read about. I normally love romance like that, like pining, and he obviously is in love with her still, but something about it. And I think it's the whole 9-year gap where we are basically told everything, but we're not seeing anything. It's the issues of friends to lovers with me, unless you see them becoming friends in their whole story and then they end up together. This is, you're told from the beginning that they are friends, she goes missing, and then 9 years later, they're enemies to lovers, but it's really still just friends to lovers. So at that point, pretty much, they go to the war front and he's assigned her, like, one of her guards. And he's trying to talk to her and she's just not interested at all. I will say the really good scene is when they're fighting at, like, the riverside and they go back to the tent and her other guard, goes to get water and he's attacked. I thought that whole section was actually really, really good. The horror parts were really interesting. The horror parts were really good. But they were like every 50 to 70 pages, and there were only like half of a page. So that part was really interesting. But otherwise it was so boring. And then after that part, it was wartime and war things happening, and then Nestor coming in and saving her from what was going on, and then her deciding she needs to go back to her family to take care of them because they don't know it's vampires. They figure out it's vampires at this point because they see vampires feeding on people. But again, they don't really have any interactions with the vampires. They just kind of see them from afar, which normally can work, but they're not that focused on them as much as I feel like the book should have been. So that was probably my biggest downfall, yeah, is the vampires were so interesting, but they just weren't a big part of this. And I have a feeling it becomes more of a part of it in the last half, but I just don't care at this point. Like, I don't care. There was not enough built up in the beginning that I just don't care. And then what really was the major downfall was the trip between the war front and getting home is just dragging. I'm so bored. I have no interest in it. And I have no will to continue it. And I just have so many other things that I want to read that I don't have another 160 pages in me to continue this book that is at the maximum going to get a 3-star. That's like my biggest problem, is this could end up being a 3-star if I really like the end, but there's no way it would be better than a 3-star. And then I skimmed to the end and I saw that they were like happily ever after kind of thing going on. I don't care. Like, I was like, yay, woo, but I just don't care. So maybe I would have cared more if I continued reading it, but I just didn't care. So getting into the things that I liked about it, because there were some things I liked about it. The writing, as usual, is really, really good. You can picture everything. It's beautiful writing. There's nothing wrong with the writing other than one thing, which we will get to. I like the setting. That's the weird part, is I actually like the setting of it, but because it's so historical fiction and a lot of it was focused on the historical fiction, that's what kind of killed me. Like, I love the setting, but it was too much about the setting, which is basically the definition of historical fiction. So that's on me just not liking historical fiction. Again, like I said, I liked the vampires. I thought the vampires were really cool. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all that I liked about it. Things that I didn't like about it, I liked the magic, but the magic was not explained. And magic, the healing, what she does, the healing that she does, when the people go into like this trance-like state, again, maybe it's explained later in the book again, more, but I don't care. Like, I want to know what was going on a little bit earlier, at least like 100 pages ago, because the magic or the healing is really, really cool. I would have totally loved it if we just skipped the war stuff. Like, in my opinion, where this book went wrong is her going to the war front. What I think they should have done, or what she should have done, for me, because I know a lot of people actually really like this book. For me, all the men should have went off. Nestor should have stayed behind. Nestor and his buddy should have stayed behind as like the guards. All the men, because all the men left. Nestor and his buddy should have stayed behind as guards, and the vampires should have sieged the town. And our main character and Abuela should have had to use their healing to protect people, and that way they're directly fighting the vampires. We get a lot more exposure to the vampires. And again, maybe that's what happens at the end. I don't know, but that should have been more of the book. That should have been the point. They never should have went away to war. It just didn't really add anything to the book. It was just her getting in the middle of stuff and realizing it's terrible, and forcing her and Nestor to spend alone time together, which could have been done in the setting of the little town that they lived. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted war go away, them staying and protecting their little village from the vampires. That would have been so good. That would have been so interesting and terrifying, because you could have had like dark rooms and the vampires trying to get in, and that's terrifying. I would have been freaked out. So I definitely think that that was a missed opportunity, but I don't think that's what she was going for. I don't think this is truly supposed to be a horror book. I think this is supposed to be, at the heart of it, a romance, and that was my biggest problem with it. I also thought it was very overwritten. That is my one issue with the writing. I thought it was so overwritten. I thought there was just paragraphs upon paragraphs of repeated information, of inner monologues that just did not need to happen. At page 200, it could have been 70 pages less already. Like, there could have been probably 70 pages cut out and you would not have noticed a difference in it. And that just comes from boring settings where you have to make up for boring situations with inner monologues and conversations that just don't need to happen. And that was, again, my biggest problem with it. It could have been solved if you went with my plot line. I feel so bad about saying this because I loved her other book. Her other book was so good. Again, I don't think it's a bad book. It just so boring. It was so boring. But that's pretty much all I had as problems with it. It was just overarching large things. It's not like nitpicking things. It's just basically the plot. I had a problem with the plot and the way that it was done. And there was so many cool things that could have been done with this and the setting, but it went that way when it should have went that way. So that's kind of my 2 cents about it. I am very curious what you guys thought about it. This is like going to be like the shortest wrap up just because I can't say anything else. I can't say it was a bad book. I can't say it's a good book because I didn't finish it. So I am very heavily relying on you guys that did read it to actually tell me what you guys thought about it. If overwhelmingly you guys are like, you have to finish it, then maybe I will. I'll force myself to maybe do that at the end of the month and give you a little update in the next book club video. But otherwise, yeah, it's a DNF. So yeah, definitely down below in the comments, let me know your rating. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. And if you DNF'd it, if you didn't DNF it, if you think I should continue reading it, if you don't think I should continue reading it, if I'm not missing anything really. And you can, again, you can do all the spoilers you want. I already did skim to the end, so nothing is going to be a surprise to me. Tell me spoilers. Tell me things that happen, because maybe then I would want to finish reading it, but I still somehow doubt it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I'm so sorry for DNFing. I don't think that's going to happen with the next 2 books. Hopefully. Maybe I'll give myself like 1 DNF a year. But this should not have been a problem. This should not have been a problem. I set myself up for success. But anyway, like I said, make sure to look out. I'll remind you guys again in next month's video and the month after, December sometime, I will be putting out a poll for monthly or bi-monthly, and then with book club picks after that poll. So I will remind you again. But remember, November is None of This Is True. I have it on audiobook. I'm very excited to read it. Oh, I should have got a book of the month copy when I got my book of the month books. That was not smart. Oh well. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any book club things going on, other book box unboxings, my normal content, etc. And yeah, like the video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in the next one.